Desktop application licensing, and this is mainly focusing on Office and all the components of Office, Project, and Visio. These are the basic desktop application licenses that are present. If you buy Office Professional Plus or Office Standard through an EA, again, this is always based on a commitment requirement. So you should always buy these for all the users in your organization. Office Standard is not a traditional choice for the enterprise agreement, only Office Professional Plus is, but there are concessions that are sometimes granted if you have a case why you would only need Office Standard instead of Office Professional Plus. You cannot license any of the individual Office components in an enterprise agreement, so you can't just buy Excel or Word. If you want to do something like that, you should move to Select Plus or MPSA or even the Cloud Solution Provider program. Project and Visio, they're available across the board. There are always additional products, no standardization requirements. You just buy the amount you need. Caveat, and a very important side point here, if you are licensing in a virtualized environment and you're offering Project and Visio and Office to your users, you are probably incompliant in the sense that you are offering Project only to the users that you want to make use of it, but as Project can be used by everyone accessing your virtualized environment, you would need actually a license for all devices that access that virtualized environment. We see this a lot. Microsoft doesn't push back heavily on it, but do be aware of it. I have a couple of slides here showing the differences between all the additions. So this is the slide showing the differences between Standard, Professional Plus, and Standard for Mac. But I won't go into all the differences in large detail. This is for Visio and here for Project. What I'd rather focus on is how it works across the board for desktop application licensing, because desktop applications are perpetual licenses. This means you buy the license and it's yours to use. They're licensed per device, so you have one install per device only. You cannot distribute over more than one device. Again, as stated in an earlier part of this training, if you buy Office Professional Plus, you cannot separate different components across multiple devices. So you can't put Excel on one device and take PowerPoint and put it on the other. You license that product, Office product suite, on one single device. Desktop applications do not have down edition rights. You can't buy an Office Professional Plus license and install Office Standard. It does happen. It still happens. It used to happen a lot. It still happens that organizations buy Office Pro Plus and they install a version of Office or an edition of Office Standard. This is not allowed, and it will lead to nasty discussions with Microsoft. This is what the product terms state around desktop application licensing. You may install any number of copies of the software on a licensed device and on any server dedicated to customers' use. Any dedicated server that is under the management or control of an entity other than the customer or one of its affiliates is subject to the outsourcing software management clause. So this is referencing what I discussed earlier around the outsourcing of your environment and the licensing requirements that you have. Unless customer licenses the software as enterprise products, so in an enterprise agreement or on a company-wide basis, for instance, an open value contract, it may also install the software on a single portable device used by the primary user of the licensed device. And any number of users may use the software running on a licensed device, but only one user may access and use the software at a time. So you can't do concurrent use again. Remote use of the software running on a licensed device is permitted for the primary user from any device or for any other user from another licensed device. And finally, remote use of the software running on a server dedicated to the customer's use is permitted for any user from a licensed device. Now, there are usage rights for Office 2019 that are worth mentioning here. You have license reassignment rights, which is the case for most of Microsoft products, but you can reassign your licenses when you want. Again, if you don't have software assurance, 90-day rule applies. And that means that you cannot move the license or reassign a license within a 90-day frame. Downgrade rights. So you have the right to use a prior version. So if you buy Office Pro Plus 2019, you can use an older version like 2016. No down addition rights, as stated. Roaming use rights are available when you have software assurance. So if you're using Office Pro Plus in a server environment, you need software assurance, and this is called roaming use, basically. You have portable use rights. It allows you, as a primary user of a licensed device, with Office 2019 to install and use Office on a secondary portable device, and you have the rights to install with Windows to Go. So that means you can install it with a USB stick. Finally, right to install on a server, as stated on the previous slide, allows Office to be installed on a server for instance, delivery through an RDS or VDI infrastructure. If you look at volume licensing programs, there are specific clauses of interest. So one of the clauses that are of interest is that application licenses are platform independent. So if you're buy a license for one platform, you are able to use it on a different platform as well. And work at home licenses are available in the EA, Select Plus, and MPSA. It grants a primary user the right to install a copy of the work at home software at home. So in case you don't want to buy software insurance, for instance, and make use of a server environment for roaming use rights, you can buy a work at home license tied to your Office Pro Plus license, and then you're allowed to install it at home, but only for the use of your to do your job effectively. So it's not a license to just at home start writing a book or something. No, it's still to do the thing that you're supposed to do for the work that you're doing for your organization.